Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. So let's start with some great news for PlayStation fans and for everyone who's been following the incredible success of Ghost of Yotei. Now, this game, which some people criticised and tried to boycott or dismiss even before giving it a fair chance, it's turned out to be one of PlayStation's biggest hits of the year. And despite a small but loud group online claiming it would fail, or that somehow it shouldn't exist, Ghost of Yotei has proven them all wrong. Now, in Sony's latest financial report, it confirms that Ghost of Yotei has sold 3.3 million copies worldwide as of November the 2nd, 2025, and that's just 1 month after launch. And think about that for a second, over 3 million players exploring Sucker Punch Productions' newest world in just a few weeks. And that's a massive achievement, and it's all on one platform, absolutely incredible. And this game is a direct follow-up to 2020's Ghost of Tsushima, one of the most beloved PlayStation exclusives of the PlayStation 4 era. And Ghost of Yotei launched on PlayStation 5 on October the 2nd, 2025. And since then, it's become the biggest first-party PlayStation release since Marvel's Spider-Man 2 back in 2023. It's not just a success in terms of numbers either, it's a sign that players still love rich, story-driven single-player games. And in a time when live service titles and multiplayer experiences seem to dominate the headlines, Ghost of Yotei shows that there's still a huge demand for immersive samurai adventures and emotional storytelling. Now, Sucker Punch has mentioned that they're listening closely to the community about what players want next. In a recent interview, the developer said they're considering future DLC, but they want to hear first from fans before locking anything in. And that's a smart move after all. How often do we see a developer actually wait for fan feedback before deciding on their next move? Now, while DLC discussions are still up in the air, the studio has confirmed one thing. Their next major project will be Ghost of Yotei Legends, a multiplayer expansion expected in 2026. So, for those that wanted to experience the same cinematic world but with friends, it looks like that is on the way. And speaking of Sony's latest updates, there's also some big talk about hardware. Sony CFO Lin Tao revealed during their most recent financial results that the company aims to hit 90 million PlayStation 5 units sold worldwide by the end of this year. And that's this financial year, this fiscal year, which ends end of March. That's a pretty ambitious goal, but looking at the numbers, it is definitely within Sony's reach. As of September the 30th, 2025, the PlayStation 5 had already reached 84.2 million units sold globally. And to put that into perspective, that's already more than any other Xbox console had ever sold. Microsoft's best-selling console, the Xbox 360, topped out around 84 million units in 2014. So if Sony can push out another 6 million consoles through this holiday season and into early next year, they'll officially hit the 90 million mark and further cement the PlayStation 5 as one of the most successful PlayStation systems ever. And the growth doesn't stop there. Sony also reported 119 million monthly active users on PlayStation Network, showing just how strong the PlayStation ecosystem is right now. Not just hardware, but engagement, subscriptions, and software sales too. And one of the biggest drivers behind this growth are games like Ghost of Yotei, which continue to keep PlayStation fans invested in the platform. Now, while we're on the topic of PlayStation 5, Lin Tao, the CFO, also shared something interesting. She said that the PlayStation 5 is currently in the middle of its journey. And that statement might sound simple, but it does say a lot about Sony's future plans. Historically, PlayStation consoles have lasted, 5, 6, 7 years, give or take, before their successors then took over. The PlayStation 3 stretched that lifespan out a little bit longer, and the PlayStation 4, well, that's continued the trend. Up until last year, it was still supported. It's staying stronger even after the PlayStation 5 launched back in 2020. But if the PlayStation 5 is only in the middle of its life right now, it suggests Sony will be supporting it for quite a few more years, possibly beyond 2030. Well beyond 2027, which is when the expected PlayStation 6 is rumored to appear. So what does that mean for gamers then? It means that the PlayStation 5 still has plenty of life left. More games, more features, and more likely hardware revisions as well. Remember, the PlayStation 4 continue getting major titles like God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, even after the PlayStation 5's release. So there's every reason to expect Sony will keep both systems alive and well for many years to come. It's also easy to forget that the PlayStation 5 launched during one of the most chaotic times in recent history. November 2020 right in the middle of the global pandemic. Despite severe stock shortages and manufacturing delays, the console still managed a strong debut. It took roughly 18 months for supply to finally catch up to demand, but once that happened, the PlayStation 5 sales exploded. Now 5 years later, the system is not only thriving, it's one of the most dominant consoles Sony has ever released. And speaking of dominance, Sony is now turning its attention back home to Japan. Sony has been making a renewed effort to re-engage the Japanese market, a region that's historically been the birthplace of PlayStation, but one where the PlayStation 5 has struggled a bit compared to the Nintendo Switch systems. Their latest state of play focused heavily on the Japanese games and the Japanese culture, and now Sony is taking an extra step to appeal directly to Japanese consumers with a new, cheaper PlayStation 5 model, one that's language locked to Japanese. This new system will only support the Japanese language and will work exclusively with Japanese PSN accounts. It'll feature the 825 gigabytes of storage, which we all got when the PlayStation 5 first launched, and will launch on November the 21st, 2025, priced at 55,000 yen, which comes to around $350 US. That's a significant drop from the current 72,980 yen price point, or roughly $473 US, which is the price of the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Now, by catering to a cheaper, more region-focused model, Sony's taking a page straight out of Nintendo's playbook here, offering a system designed specifically for the local audience. Pre-orders open on November the 13th, and Sony clearly hopes this move will boost sales in Japan, especially after several price hikes in recent years. It's a smart and strategic decision. Japan has always been a core part of PlayStation's identity, and re-establishing that connection could pay off in the long run. But Sony isn't just working on consoles, they're also stepping into new hardware territory, and their latest reveal might surprise you. Sony has announced a 27-inch PlayStation branded gaming monitor. It's set to launch in 2026 in both Japan and the US. This monitor is designed specifically for PlayStation gamers, though it will work absolutely perfectly with PCs and Macs too. It features a QHD IPS display with up to 2560 by 1440 resolution, HDR support, and VRR for smooth gameplay. What's cool is that Sony's designed this monitor with both style and function in mind. It even includes a built-in charging hook for your DualSense or DualSense Edge controller, a small but very handy feature for desktop setups. Now, it also supports refresh rates up to 120Hz on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro, and up to 240Hz on compatible PCs. So whether you're playing cinematic adventures or fast-paced shooters, it'll deliver that smooth, sharp visual experience. Other details include built-in stereo speakers, a 3.5mm audio jack, VESA mount support, and multiple USB ports, including 2 USB-A and 1 USB-C, all designed with the PlayStation ecosystem in mind. You can tell Sony's looking to create a complete gaming environment, from console to controller to monitor, all seamlessly now connected. Now, while Sony's had plenty of wins lately, not everything has gone according to plan. Let's talk about the Bungie situation, because this one's been a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. Back in 2022, Sony spent $3.6 billion acquiring Destiny 2 developer Bungie. The goal was clear, right? To strengthen PlayStation's push into live service gaming and multiplayer experiences. But fast forward to 2025, and it's safe to say that investment hasn't really gone as expected. Sony has now admitted that the Bungie acquisition has led to what they call impairment loss, basically a financial hit due to the company's underperformance. According to the CFO, Lin Tao, the reality is that Destiny 2 simply is not performing at the level Sony had hoped it would. Engagement and sales are significantly down, and the overall live service strategy has been re-evaluated. In her own words, Lin Tao goes on to say that due to changes in the competitive environment, the level of sales and user engagement have not reached expectations. As a result, Sony has revised its business projections for Bungie and taken a financial loss on part of the investment. It's not all doom and gloom though. Sony still believes Bungie has value, especially as they continue to work on Marathon, their upcoming extraction shooter, though that game has already faced its share of controversy and delays. And in an effort to regain control, Sony has decided to integrate Bungie more closely into PlayStation Studios ending some of the independence the studio initially had during its acquisition. It's a reminder that even big companies like Sony can stumble, especially when trying to break into new markets that don't always align with their strengths. And of course, live service gaming is not a market that PlayStation and Sony is familiar with, but there is still positive momentum in other areas. Helldivers 2, for example, has been a massive success, even launching on Xbox earlier this year and performing incredibly well across all platforms. Lin Tao did note that the game has attracted new players, whilst keeping PlayStation 5 and PC fans highly engaged. Other titles like MLB The Show 25 are performing strongly, and of course, Ghost of Yotei. I'll bring it back to that. Ghost of Yotei continues to dominate. So while the Bungie situation may be rough, PlayStation's broader ecosystems remains extremely healthy and strong. And finally, one more big piece of news to bring you. As I reported a couple of days ago, it's now been confirmed that a brand new DLC called Forsaken Hollows is on the way for Elden Ring Nightreign, and it launches December the 4th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox and PC. Now this expansion adds 2 new playable Nightfarers, 2 new bosses, and what seems to be a massive new area called the Great Hollow. The 2 new characters are the Scholar and the Undertaker. Each bring their own unique strengths. The Scholar specializes in arcane power and battlefield observation, while the Undertaker combines brute strength with faith-based abilities. And although From Software is keeping most details secret, we do know that the Great Hollow will feature ancient ruins, sacred towers, and strange crystal formations that drain life from anything nearby. It's mysterious, dark, and exactly what fans of Elden Ring actually love. The DLC will cost around $15 though anyone who owns Nightreign, the Deluxe Edition, will get the DLC automatically. With its December release, the Forsaken Hollows will be the perfect way to close out 2025. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next video.